Wow, look at this already. Look at this. We're only 2 minutes from where I've parked the car down in Tilbuthwaite, and wow man, already beautiful views on an equally beautiful day here in the Lake District. Now, I'm trying something just a little bit different today, just a little bit. I think for such a long time now, and understandably, anytime I come out into the Lake District to do hikes, I'm very focused on trying to do Wainwrights, trying to tick them off for my little or my very big project of wanting to climb every single Wainwright. I think I'm on about 70 out of 214 now. If you don't know what a Wainwright is, by the way, there are 214 mountains here in the Lake District National Park that are classified as Wainwrights, and I've made it my goal to hike up all 214, however long it takes, and try and take photographs along the way. But today is a little bit different. I'm disregarding the whole Wainwright thing. I don't want to focus on it. I just want to come out in the Lake District and enjoy a hike without the somewhat pressured feeling of going up Wainwrights. I just want to enjoy a walk for what it is. So I've picked out around about an 8-kilometre route, a loop, where we'll actually come back out down this path. So like I said, right at the start here, but we are heading off in this direction because we want to cross over what is Tilbuthwaite Gill here. And this is a beautiful walk, one that I haven't done in many, many years. And yeah, I love this part of the Lake District. And it's, like I said, really nice to not have that kind of pressure, if you could even call it that. But that kind of, I don't have to worry about that goal of getting to the top of a Wainwright, and just enjoy the walk for what it is. I mean, look at this already. What a start. Only probably another 2 minutes again from where I last spoke to you. And I love these sorts of hikes, these adventures where you just like, look at it, you're just straight into it, straight into the beauty, no messing about. Oh man, hopefully this excitement, this enjoyment, this beauty is a sign of things to come. And I mean, look at it. It is just, once again, same as last week, such a beautiful day. Oh, the silver birches, man, the silver birches. I'm so excited for spring now. I do think they look beautiful even in winter, that kind of maroon colour that I always allude to, but this photograph is one that always comes to mind. And you know, when, regardless of what level you're at, regardless of looking back on an image that's from years ago, just like this one with me, you know, when you take a photograph and you're just so happy with it. You know, if I took this photograph now, I probably wouldn't be quite as buzzing because, I don't know, I feel like maybe I've got a bit better as a photographer. My standards are a little bit high, but at the time I was so happy with that particular image. And yeah, obviously, so many silver birch trees down in the foreground. And if I think of spring in the Lake District, particularly in this area, because that photograph was really close to here, that's the image that I always think of. And yeah, I'm really, really fond of it. And yeah, that's what's got me so excited for the silver birch trees, man. They just come alive in spring after being naked for so many months. I cannot wait. I just think, all in all, the old silver birch trees, along with the Scots pines, and actually these larch trees as well, I just think they're like so photographable. They're such brilliant trees, brilliant subjects for us landscape photographers. I mean, look at this here, this kind of section. This is Home Fell. He is actually a Wainwright, although very small, one of my favourites. Look at all the silver birch trees just dotted along the flank here of Home Fell. May not look too much now, but in the right light, and yeah, especially once they start getting some of them vibrant mint green leaves on, well, probably only in about a month's time. Just stood here with a telephoto lens would be absolutely wonderful. What an opportunity they bring for photographs. I love a silver birch. So after that explosion of enthusiasm for the old silver birch trees, I hope you are all keeping well, and thank you once again for joining me on a little photography / hiking adventure. Ironically, after talking about Wainwrights, I didn't actually clock onto this when I was just talking about it. I am actually going to be summiting a Wainwright. The Wainwright's called Wetherlam in the Coniston Fells. It's a beautiful hill. It's a wonderful Wainwright. I've definitely put it up there as one of my favourites, but I have been up it before. That's why this is kind of like unofficial, a bit more laid back. There's no Wainwright summit that I've never been up or that I'm going up for the first time on the channel. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to that kind of more relaxed adventure. The reason I'm trying to do a few loops as well is my fitness isn't great at the moment, to be completely honest with you. I think I've maybe slacked a little bit over the winter with running, cycling, even hiking to a certain extent. And the thing with my hiking is, like probably a lot of yous lot, it's maybe not as regular as it might seem, you know. Make these videos once a week. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily hiking that much outside of making these videos. Once a week, even a big hike, for me anyway, it's not enough to keep the old fitness up. So I'm trying to do a few bigger loops, doing a bit of running and stuff again, trying to improve the fitness, because it's not ideal for coming out and filming these videos and I'm just a huffing and puffing mess to use that on the camera. But yeah, it is what it is. Oh wow, look at this, man. Look at that, down into the gill, Tilbuthwaite Gill. We do not want to be stepping down there. And I tell you what, I'm going to keep going with this one. But the trees, let's get back onto the subject of the excitement of the trees. I just think there's so much character to a tree. And that's something that's always made me feel so enthusiastic about things like woodland photography, or just, you know, I wouldn't necessarily class all of this as woodland, so to speak, but it's the same concept in that there's so much character. You know, they change the way that they look all year round as the seasons pass. And I think as well that woodland photography or tree photography, whatever you want to call it, one thing that I love about it is the accessibility. It feels like it's so accessible. You know, this is quite a big hike, 8 kilometers up and around, you know, probably 600-700 meters of elevation, maybe a bit less than that, about 500. But still, for a lot of people, that's really tough. And, you know, one thing that I love about woodland photography is that it's the same amount of inspiration. You're still getting out with your camera. It's the same amount of enjoyment when you're out with your camera. And I always feel like it's a really good type of photography to show other people. You do not have to go on big, massive hikes to enjoy landscape photography. You know, the trees are always here. Quite a lot of us have got, you know, woodlands that are relatively local to us. Generally, they haven't got big, massive hills and things. You know, you can get around them. You can still enjoy your photography. Now I'm going to crack on after saying all that with my big, massive hike. Absolute phony. Just got this little gaffer here having a little stare at me. So I'm taking some photographs of him. He's pure posing like on this rock. So I've just, I mean, at first, oh, there's a nice bit of light now as well. Oi, lad. There we go. Oh, he's had enough. Got a few shots in, but yeah, he was posing away. I actually stopped, to be honest with you. I don't know if you can see the big, massive, I think this is a larch tree up on the cliff there. I don't know, I'll probably do it in a black and white. The reason I'm stuttering a bit is because I don't really know what to say to you. It's just like a tree on the edge of a cliff and it feels very instinctual. There's a reason why I'm stopping and wanting to photograph it. I don't really know why though. I don't seem to have any like information to share with you, but I'm going to give it a go. I'm actually going to pop the Nikon Z7 into monochrome. And yeah, I kind of stopped to have a quick drink and just to wait for the light. And I'll grab that now. There we go. I mean, one thing I definitely like about the photograph as you've seen it there, or the form of the tree, is that it's, in my opinion, the tree's kind of pointing to the right-hand side. So I've deliberately placed the tree, you know, over on the far left-hand side of the photograph. So it's kind of pointing into the negative space on the right-hand side, if that makes sense, which is, you know, a really cool technique. And I reckon, you know, something to be absolutely mindful of when you're taking photographs of anything really, but especially when you've got a very obvious, strong subject. Look at it, almost personify the subject and think like, which way is it pointing? To me, I'll put the image up again, that's the tree just looks like it's pointing to the right. So if I had that tree on the right-hand side, it would feel really off, in my opinion, really unbalanced. So this hill here is Wetherlam, and that is the inadvertent Wainwright, let's call it, that we're going to be heading up today. And yeah, we kind of like carrying along this path, we scoot a little bit round to the right and then straight up what is Wetherlam Edge there, absolutely beautiful. And yeah, I don't care that it's a Wainwright, but the views will be beautiful from the top, providing no weather comes in. Anyway, I think this is a really beautiful fell actually. It's the northernmost of the Coniston Fells, which are probably my favourite in the Lake District so far, this kind of area. And yeah, I think sometimes Wetherlam gets a little bit kind of overshadowed by the Old Man of Coniston, which is right next door, kind of like behind Wetherlam there. Which is, yeah, it's really, really popular, the Old Man of Coniston, but Wetherlam is equally, if not more beautiful, and a heck of a lot quieter. There's our mate, by the way, in the middle of the screen somewhere. I don't know if you can see him round about there. He's having a little munch for himself after his 5 or 10 minutes or so of modelling work from earlier. Oh, look at the light, man. It's beautiful. Just I don't know, like a really nice kind of subtle glow. Look at that, beautiful, beautiful clouds. It's these sorts of conditions now, you know, that get me really, really excited for golden hours and sunsets and sunrises and stuff like that. You know, this kind of, this mixture. See, look, big blue skies up there, right above us as well. We know we're going to have opportunities for the sun to come out like it has been doing. But, you know, we've got a lot of beautiful texture up there. I mean, look at that off into the distance. I love it when the clouds are like that. It's fantastic. It just bodes so, so well for the rest of the day. So we're starting the proper ascent, I would say, up to Wetherlam. By the way, it is more around about 600 metres worth of elevation. I think before I said it might be more like 500, but no, just give myself a bit more credit. 600. So yeah, it's opening out a little bit now. We're getting beautiful views back to, well, on the other side of this little section of mosses here, this kind of marshland, which is ironically called Dry Cove. It's looking very wet, but no, we came around that on the other side and then we're up here. But yeah, beautiful views now right back to sort of Morecambe Bay, into the Lancashire Hills, Forest of Bowland, even as far as some of the Yorkshire Dales, actually. I can even see Gummer's How there, which is a lot closer to Morecambe Bay. The smaller mound here, I think, is Blake Rig and then Hawk Rig. And yeah, absolutely beautiful, man, beautiful. I love the kind of feeling of desolate, nothing, the crags, the larch trees. It's just us, you know, and all the grasses, the herdwicks. This is why we do it. This is why I do it anyway. The solitude, the isolation. It's just me. It's just me. And then the camera, which gives me even more of an incentive. I love it, man. I love it. Wow, look at this little section here. That is beautiful. They are mad for the larch trees today. I've been giving it the big one about the silver birch and the Scots pines, and it's the larch trees that are taking centre stage today. That's gorgeous, isn't it? Absolutely beautiful views. And one thing, if you come to the Coniston Fells, that you cannot ignore because it's everywhere, is the mining history. And I'm pointing here because I assume this is something to do with the copper, unless this is just some sort of rust. Perhaps someone let me know in the comments. But either way, copper mining was ubiquitous around this area. In fact, Wetherlam is often referred to as the miners' mountain. And yeah, copper was mined here, I think at its peak in the 1700s, and it was mined before that and after that. But yeah, in the 1700s, it would have been mined as copper ore, which was basically just rocks with pure copper in it. The rocks would have been taken away to be smelted, which is basically really, really, you know, heated up to a very high temperature so that it can release the pure copper. And then that would be used for all sorts of things. I think back then, one of its main uses was they made like copper sheets, and then these massive sheets were stuck on the bottom of boats, like wooden boats back then, to protect them. So I mean, I'm not too great with history, but 1700s, there was probably a lot of action with the Royal Navy. I don't know, but yeah, that would probably make sense as to why it was so in such high demand, you know. And then tools and coins and pipes, things like that. Yeah, this would have been an absolute hive of activity. Not like today, it's just me and the larch trees and the model Herdwicks, that is it. Just the way we like it. But no, I say this all the time. I said it in Wales quite recently, if you watch me regularly. It is just fascinating to imagine hundreds, probably thousands of men up here in brutal conditions, just hammering away at the earth, man. Madness. And there's me up here taking photographs of the sheep. It's hard not to get down on yourself sometimes, man. You think, gosh, man, there were these men up here, you know, like creating a whole industry for our nation. And there's me taking photographs of sheep, man. Oh, gosh. Anyway, little slither of Windermere there, the lake right off in the distance. Nice patches of light back to the Howgills and the Yorkshire Dales again. Ah, looks like all the snow's melted. And I must say to you here, this is kind of one of those chaps where I'm being honest when I don't need to be, but I've definitely got a bit of an insecurity about, you know, doing this as a job, especially as a man, dare I say it. I just feel like sometimes I think, you know, there have been these men up here really working towards the industry of this nation, if you want to look at it that way, working so hard, you know, manual jobs, and I'm here in exactly the same place, albeit 300-400 years later, but I am taking photographs of the local sheep. Yeah, definitely got an insecurity about that. Does that even make sense, by the way, what I'm on about there? I'm trying to say, I've grown up in a society and a culture, I don't know where I've got it from, where I believe that certain jobs are like worth more. And it's not like an opinion, it's something that's like drilled into my head. So people that work in like real hard jobs, physically hard, for some reason I give that a lot more weight than, let's say, for example, something that I do, which is, I don't like using this term, but it's a good one to use here because it's very, very broad, but like art. So, you know, entertainment, whatever you want to call these videos, and then obviously the photographs themselves, which, yeah, I suppose you could say is art. Yeah, I've never really spoken about that on this channel, but it is something that I'm nowhere near as bad as I used to be. And, you know, I sound like I'm building it up into it's something that I struggle with. It's absolutely not. It's just always been this kind of like whirring, like, yeah, opinion off in the background, where it's always felt like, you know, what I'm doing isn't like a proper job. I don't know, man. Madness. But yeah, I don't know, let us know down in the comments if you've got any opinions on that. Anyway, off on a mad one. What is this lad on about? Just relax and enjoy it, lad. Oh, little Langdale Tarn is that down there, absolutely beautiful. We can see a little bit of Blee Tarn as well. Oh my gosh, man, this is gorgeous. The Langdale Pikes, right back up to Helvellyn, we can see up there. Oh my gosh, is that Blencathra right off in the distance? This is insane. Pike of Blisco, the Scarfells, that's where we were last week, up on that incredible hike up Lord's Rake. This is stunning. I'll tell you what, that is some chill in the air. It was so pleasant on the way up. Oh my gosh. The wind's coming from the north, so from this direction, which is not particularly common. Usually it's coming in from, I suppose, kind of like the west. But oh gosh, man, that is absolutely freezing. So yeah, it turns out we've been sheltered from the wind all the way up. And I obviously checked the forecast before I came out, and I packed like my gloves and my hat and my down jacket. And as I was packing them, I was thinking like, why am I packing all of this? It's such a beautiful day. Now it makes sense. The forecast was correct. By the way, it's not the freaking Scarfells back there, as some of you has probably noticed. I'm on an absolute mad one. That is Crinkle Crags. I was looking at it thinking, that doesn't actually look like the Scarfells, and it can't be because they're on this side of Bow Fell. So yeah, they're sort of like humped shaped, or the crinkles of Crinkle Crags there. I actually have just taken a photograph as well, zoomed in around about 100 millimeters, just in aperture priority. And this is the image here, a monochrome, a 16:9. We have just got some beautiful kind of cloud formations sat above Bow Fell and Crinkle Crags. And I just thought, like, you know, in a black and white, quite high contrast, the light's still pretty harsh. It just looked wonderful on the back of the camera anyway. It looked really dramatic and definitely worth a photograph. Right, I'm gonna have to get moving and maybe even get the gloves on because it is freezing. Oh man, that is better. That is better. If you can even hear me, by the way, that wind, that is one of the most dramatic temperature changes that I can remember in a long time. There's Rhino's Pass as well down there. I can see a few cars, which is quite an exciting little road to drive actually. I think, you know, everyone talks about Hard Knot Pass, which is one of the steepest roads in Europe, I believe, but yeah, Rhino's Pass doesn't get as much attention. It's right next to Hard Knot really, but still pretty steep and much longer than Hard Knot. You can see I'm geared up, gloves, hat, jacket, the lot. I go on about this so much, but honestly, you cannot beat good outdoors gear. It's just class, it's so good. It changes everything. To be honest, if I didn't have my jacket, my gloves and my hat there, I'd have been turning back round, honestly. I'm bigging up maybe how cold it is. Maybe it'd been all right if I started moving, but it's just so intimidating when it gets so cold quickly like that. And then it instantly makes you feel so comfortable when you've got the right gear. In terms of my gear, by the way, because I get a lot of questions, there'll be a link down in the video description below that'll take you to I've got a page on my website with all of my gear, links to it all. And, you know, not just my photography gear, but my videography gear and all my outdoor gear as well. Everything that I could list, I've listed. If you do buy anything from there, by the way, try and use those links if you can, because I get like a small commission. You don't have to pay extra. So if you're going to buy anything, yeah, try and use them links. It really helps. Oh, also, whilst we are on the subject of my website, I have got quite a lot of prints for sale from mostly here in the Lake District because I need to update it and add a lot more prints, but they're all, I think anyway, really reasonably priced. It's a fantastic way to support the channel if you'd like to. There's a lot of variety, all sorts of different types of photographs from all over the years, and yeah, I'd appreciate any purchases. You know, it goes such a long way into me being able to put money back into this channel and go on adventures and stuff, you know. And I've also got 3 ebooks. I think most of you have probably purchased them already, so thank you so much for the support. And I've had so much wonderful feedback on all 3 of them. I've got one ebook that is a photography guide to the Lake District, which is where we are today, of course. I've got another ebook that is a photography guide to Scotland. And I've got a 3rd ebook that is a guide on composition in landscape photography, which is definitely my most popular. And yeah, also same as the print, any purchases of those mean the absolute world. Thank you so much. It is now time for us to crack on up Weatherlam Edge. It's quite intimidating from here, doesn't it? Oh gosh man, the wind. I'm so keen now to get up really to the top of Weatherlam and then of course then drop down the other side. We're going to be on like the southern flank of Weatherlam and then coming around the southern edge of the fell itself, like as we get further down, which means that really the whole fell is going to be blocking the wind. Whereas now at the minute, going at Weatherlam Edge, listen to it. We're getting battered by it, man. We're in the worst possible spot for the wind. Like I said before, usually the wind's coming kind of from the east, so even here this would be like pretty much blocking us. Yeah, it's not particularly pleasant. So I'm just going to get the old noggin down and yeah, make some tracks up towards the summit of Weatherlam. I'll probably see you up there or a bit further up towards the top. Friggin' hell, look at this, steep in it. I don't remember it being like this. I'm getting flashbacks to friggin' Lord's Raking, last week's video, which was Scarfell. We can kind of see some of them now. The Scarfell's brilliant. Yeah, it was up there. Look at it. Still a bit of a beast. Right, we are, it's basically a scramble there, to be honest. Oh, we're not too far from the top now. Just at them rocks there. Oh, it'll start flattening out. Oh, there we go. That was quite tough towards the end. So summit's just up there, just giving it a tap, but like I said, I've been here already, it's fine. In fact, this photograph was from when I came up here last. Like I said, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago now. Obviously completely different conditions, but I will tell you what, this is my type of fell. Craggy, tons of interest up here, tiny little tarns, whatever you want to call them. Look at this, you know, I'm thinking about this as a landscape photographer. So much interest to work with, and I mean the views are extensive. There's Scarfell and Scarfell Pike, absolutely black right off in the distance, if you can see that. We can still see a little bit of Bow Fell, and let's look at the Coniston Fells. And this is Coniston Old Man over here, the big sort of prominent curvature right off in the distance. Oh, a little bit of Coniston Water as well. And I think this is madness again. I think we can see a little bit of Snowdonia, very hazy off in the distance, North Wales. Black Combe through the gap there, can you see? Oh, this is brilliant, man, absolutely brilliant. And I mean, look at it. This is why, I mean, I needn't say anything, just look. This is why the Coniston Fells is my favourite part of the Lake District. Look, I don't need to say anything, you know. It's the cragginess, man, it's the cragginess that I love. No matter where it is, even if it is over in Snowdonia, back up that way in Scotland, which I think we can see, you won't be able to, but he is right off there in the distance, over to Dumfries and Galloway, past Skiddaw, Blencathra. We've already seen all these ones over here, Helvellyn again. You can still see the top of Pavey Ark, Langdale Pikes. This is just stunning. It's so extensive, it's incredible. And yeah, we are sort of heading down in a southerly direction. In fact, what I'm going to do is start heading down now, because I actually haven't got that much time. The sun's going to start dipping, but I want to find a little bit of shelter. And I've got another rubbish meal deal. I keep saying I'm going to sort it out and start having better, you know, lunches when I come up onto the fells and stuff, but I always leave it till last minute and I have to just stop at like Tesco or something on the way. But it'll be fine, it'll do the job. Oh, I'll tell you what, I can feel the wind dropping already. So yeah, instead of us heading kind of round that way, which will be the normal way for a lot of people, hitting some of the Coniston Fells, eventually take you round to Swirl How and then maybe Coniston Old Man if you wanted to go around that way, or down to Levers Water. We, like I said, we're heading in a nice windless southerly direction. And yeah, across this little section here, which I think is called Hen Crag. A little bit less travelled, but this is just going to help us to complete our loop, and we'll eventually come all the way back round to Tilbury, obviously where the car's parked. In terms of the photography as well, I am going to keep my eye out. I would have liked to have stayed up on Weatherland for a little bit longer, but we are now, let me have a look at what time we're on. Let me have a look. 5 p.m, yeah, 4:45, so just over an hour of sunlight left. And still quite a while to go. The problem is, I'll be honest with you, I've forgotten my frigging head torch. And I realised just as I parked up the car, and I'll tell you what I've done. A couple of days ago, the dishwasher blocked at home, blocked. And I was like, I had my head right in the dishwasher trying to unblock it, you know, removing the filter and all that. And I couldn't see. So I was like, whoa, I'll get my head torch. I was using my phone light at first, but I needed two hands. Put the head torch on, did the job. And I think I just left it on the side somewhere and, you know, forgot to put it back in my bag. But yeah, it just means that I don't really, even this, you know, it looks fairly, you know, easy going. The terrain doesn't look too bad. But yeah, like benign, I suppose. But yeah, I don't want to mess about, even in somewhere like this, you know, without a frigging head torch. I mean, I could get the old iPhone out and use that, but it's not great, is it? So, it is what it is. Sometimes these things have to be done. I tell you what, we're out the wind already. This is quality. It does your head in, doesn't it? So, it's time for the meal deal. So here we go, we've got Tesco, tuna and sweet corn, grab bag Monster Munch. Again, I'm probably making out like I'm not happy with it just for effect, but I'm quite happy with this. This'll do me. I'm a big Monster Munch fan. Oh, that's better. I'll tell you what's annoying. The frigging wind has switched direction. So it was coming from the north when we were on the southern end. Now it seems to be coming from, well, the southeast sort of thing, probably more of an easterly wind. I actually just flew the drone up. I love this little perspective here, looking back to, you know, the Old Man of Coniston, Levers Water. And yeah, I did one of them. You can do like bracketed photographs with the drone. It just does like an automatic kind of 3 or 5 photographs because we were shooting directly into the sun. But there's the final image. We'll see how it came out. I think we could see a little bit of low water as well, and a bit further up, a little slither of him. But yeah, just an all-round really nice scene, beautiful light. And I feel like every time I take a photograph with the drone, I enjoy it. And I always say I don't take enough photographs with the drone, so it always feels good when I do. But yeah, let's carry on. I need to make a little bit of progress now because I've still got a good while to go, and obviously the light's dipping, and of course I will be keeping my eye out for photographs on the way down as well. Let's continue our loop. That's proper Herdwick country, this, isn't it? Look, another one, another little model. Sorry, mate, somebody beat you to the photographs earlier on. You're still a stunner, though. Don't take it the wrong way. Wow, look at this. Honestly, absolutely class. Like, still a little slither of Coniston water, and look at all these beautiful rocks here. Maybe erratics. I'm not sure. Probably not erratics. They'd have to be much further away, wouldn't they? Look at that. What a spot. How cool is that? Little gaffer there. It's a bit of a shame because we're now on this side of the Coniston Fells. You know, we're in the opposite side of where the sun is setting. You know, we've still got probably 45 minutes worth of light, but the only light we're going to get is off into the distance for now. And you could probably see some down towards the south as well, you know, and that's nice. That's fine. We can work with that. It's, yeah, you know, maybe telephoto lens territory, but we're going to continue with this loop. You're probably not going to be able to see, but you see that kind of like body of water down there. It looks like a little bit of a river that just gets a little bit wider. Kind of parallel with that, right off in the distance, is a path. So we hit that path and then left, swing a left, and then it's relatively flat, like all the way back to Tilbury. Is that another little cave opening down there as well? It's just like littered with the history of it, isn't it? It's so cool. But yeah, in terms of the light, oh man, little bit of a shame. But then again, like I said, and like I always say, that's the beauty of the telephoto lens. We can stand on the edge of a little crag here like this and spot some potential photographs off in the distance back to where all of that nice evening glow is. So we'll see. This is so nice, isn't it? Again, just that feeling of desolation. Nothing, no one about. I've not seen another person. Oh no, I saw one bloke. I think he was a shepherd. He had like a little, I think it was like a little spaniel chasing the Herdwicks around. It looked like he was just checking on them. But that's it. That's the only bloke that I've seen, the only person that I've seen since the car park. Oh, little Herdwick. They're always just doing that, aren't they? Oh, he's not looking at me now. Just dotted around the place. Right, let's get down to that path. And yeah, like I said, we'll keep our eyes out just in case there's anything worth getting the long lens out for. Oh, that's quite nice there, isn't it? Look, right in the middle. I reckon it's worth a little bit of a square crop there whilst the light's really nice on them fells. Worth a go. Oh, I love these little puddles. I got this photograph. I've definitely shown this recently as well, but I got this on a one-to-one workshop. Oh man, again, quite a while ago, maybe sort of 3, maybe even 4 years ago, but I just love it when you get them little, not necessarily tarns, you know, little puddles. This is the little section of water that I said, it looks like it's just where the sort of river's widening. Now, aperture priority, I think, let me just have a look. Yeah, I've still got it in black and white. I was just thinking maybe I'll shoot it in a black and white. It does look cool, but I also think I like the colour. So what I'm going to do is just shoot it in colour because that's how I want to visualise it. And then I'll decide if I want to turn it into a black and white when I get home. So just aperture priority. Oh, I'll tell you what's really nice as well. You see it when you see the photograph, but there's a nice little sort of leading line from the bottom right hand side from the river, basically. Sky's beautiful. I'm really glad I stopped for this. Nice subtle colours. Aperture priority, I'm just going to pop it on f11, and actually I'm going to stop down a little bit because it's quite dark. So f6.3, 1/250th of a second, and ISO's on auto, which is why I've stopped down, and it's 560 ISO. There we go. You know what, I quite like that. I think it looks quite snazzy. I'll just grab another one just in case. Yeah, really happy with that, and I love those kind of like subtle colours. Oh, the light is beautiful on those fells. Oh, another little blood blister, this time off the frigging video tripod. Sick of them, absolute photographer's worst nightmare, man. Well, I suppose it isn't. I suppose it'd be worse if I broke my leg and I had to get helicoptered off the fell, but That makes a blood blister seem like nothing. It is nothing really, isn't it? But oh man, it happens all the frigging time. Such annoying little things. Providing I said really nice subtle colours, I'm sure the photograph that I just showed you, the little square crop there, was in colour and not monochrome. In fact, I'll pop it back up, monochrome and colour. Let me know, please, down in the comments, which is your favourite of that particular photograph. Do you prefer the monochrome or do you prefer the colour? I reckon it's going to be the colour, but it did look class when I first looked through it. When I first looked through the camera and it was just in monochrome from earlier on. So yeah, fingers killing me, man. Wow, look at that. Look at that out to the east. To the east, complete opposite direction to where the sun is setting. That is outstanding. I mean, it's probably really dark there on the camera now because it is kind of, you know, the light's dropped. Oh, even some nice clouds up there. Man, that is amazing. You know what? I just don't think there's a photograph. I mean, yeah, all right, you could get the camera out and just sort of take a straight shot of that, you know, but as far as I can see anyway, it's not really, you know, a composed photograph. It's just like a snap of some nice conditions. Oh, that's amazing. Again, sorry if it's a bit dark, it's just the way it is. It is dark all of a sudden. But yeah, this is us now back at Tilberthwaite Gill. So we started on this side of the gill when we left the car park. Remember we went over that bridge and we went across there. Remember, I think that might have been when I was banging on about trees. Yeah, it was, wasn't it? I was banging on about trees and how cool it is that they're generally so accessible to people, and you don't have to feel like you have to go on a big hike. That rant, the tree rant, which led on to the silver birch. Oh man, that is beautiful, isn't it? That is absolutely stunning. I mean, what a finish to the loop to walk back in to all of that, looking over Holmfell there, looking back towards that. That is outstanding. So unexpected as well in that direction. So you may remember at the beginning of the video, right at the start, this is where I said I would meet back up with the loop. We've just come from that little gravel track there, and that's the direction we went right at the beginning, which means that we're back at the car park. And good timing as well, because as you could probably tell from the camera and the rubbish quality, all of a sudden, it's pretty dark. But yeah, I'm glad actually, it's worked out pretty much perfectly, considering, like I said before, I forgot my head torch. I didn't want to mess around too much. Yes, I'd have liked to have stayed, you know, on the fell, especially at the top of Weatherlam for a bit longer and tried to get some photographs, but I'd have been coming down that final section in the dark, which probably wouldn't have been ideal, or with my frigging iPhone torch on. So yeah, I made the right call, the right choice. Thank you very much for tuning in. Please do comment down below if you have a quick second to spare as well, and you could hit the like button, the thumbs up. That would be wonderful. And if you'd like to subscribe as well to see more content from me, it is free, doesn't cost you anything, and it does help me out as well if you could just click the button, whatever. And to my Ko-fi members, thank you very much for your continued support over there as well. Very much appreciated. Cheers, ladies and gents. Really hope you enjoyed it, and I shall see you on the next adventure. out.